the excitement of being back and together as a team. We had kind of a taste of it in the summer because everybody comes back for summer school and they do their workouts and then they can skate on their own. But to get on the ice with the players again, we got a lot of new faces with the 10 new guys that have been added to our roster. So it's exciting to get them involved in it. But I love how hard we practiced. Again, I think last year's year of playing with no fans, of understanding how lucky we were to even be playing our sport with all the things that were going on in the world, was something that really kind of carried over throughout the summer into this season. I love how our leaders have handled the whole transition of bringing all these new players into the team. So there's lots of positives. We got a hardworking group. That's for sure. There's pieces that are no longer with us that were big parts of our program and left us in a really good spot with how they contributed to our successes last year. But now there's an opportunity for the guys that have grinded through it and helped us in their years to kind of step forward and have a bigger, platform or opportunity to show how important they are to our program as well. And so I think they're all excited. I think that what the work that they put in over the summer to be ready for this is good. So the first few practices have been fun and hardworking and competitive.
Sure.
And Todd, it's nice having you back in the building too, because it was
thank
usually
you.
just Capo by himself standing there against the wall. Now at least there's a few people. You and Brian Posick was here. Jocko was here last week. A couple others have popped in. There's a little more excitement when there's a few other people in the building to enjoy our practices.
Nice being back. I appreciate it. Thank you. I wonder how the transition to a new strength and conditioning coach goes. I mean, that's something that maybe gets hidden in the background sometimes, but I mean, that's an important part of what you guys did in the summer and into these few weeks leading into the season.
Yeah, and that's really brilliant of you to bring up, because when you think about it, in the summer, he has way more touches with our players than we do as coaches. We can't coach. We can't go on the ice with them. We see them, we say hi to them. We're around a little bit, but there's no coaching in the summer. And the strength and conditioning part of being an athlete at the collegiate level, there's a commitment there that is of professional commitment. So it's like an NHL player training in the summer. And, we lost Jim Snyder, who moved over to basketball, and that's a big hole to fill. But one of the things that Jim promised me was that through the whole process, we were going to bring in somebody that had NHL experience that could bring something to our program that our program has to have. And that's a guy that our guys can rely on, that the workouts that they're going to get through the summer and through the season is going to help them mature and develop in a way physically that'll help them most be ready for their professional career when they do leave here. And the guy we hired, Paul Balukas, who had a little bit of some experience with us earlier when he came probably 4 years ago and was worked for Jimmy just for a short period of time, went on and was working in the LA Kings organization, worked in Ontario last year with their minor league team, was going to work his way up and be an NHL strength and conditioning coach. And we were lucky that he has Wisconsin ties, that he was interested in the job. The second the job became available. And he has not only jumped in and filled the role that we've asked, he's added something to our program that's been really exciting. So his energy and what he brought to our group it fits in with what we're trying to do as a program. So he's young, he's hungry, he's very confident in what he does, but he also has a really good demeanor on knowing how to push our play. So if you can ask him, after their 8 weeks of working with him this summer, the amount of work and energy that they spent to keep up with the pace that Paul asked them to do is, again, it's an NHL standard. And that's really important for me as a coach, especially with the limited contact that we have with them in the summer, to have a guy that I can rely on that I know is helping them not only be ready for our season, but to help them get ready for their careers after.
Coach, you kind of mentioned briefly earlier about some guys stepping into bigger roles. After a couple of weeks, who are some of those guys? Who who do you think is kind of maybe surprised you early on in the preseason practices?
Yeah, I prefer not to throw names out there right now because there's still lots of time, before our first real game. But the returning players that I want to understand how important they were. I've shown a ton of one-on-one video with them on what they did last year to help us win Big Ten championship. I don't want those players to change, to think that they got to replace Ty Pelton-Weiss, Cole Caulfield, Linus Weisbach, Dylan Holloway, Ty Emerson, Robbie Baydun. I want them to build off of what they did last year and continue to grow and develop and get better in small increments as far as not thinking, okay, last year I get 7 goals, Cole's not here. He had 31 last year. I got to figure out how to get 24 more goals. That's not what I'm looking for, or do we need? What we need is those same players, the Bakers, the Mershers, the Brock Caulfields, Ashans, Gorniak, and go right through our whole roster. We need them to play at the same intensity and grit and commitment that they had last year. And just the experience that they went through last year, their production will go up naturally. But if you try to go into a year and say, okay, it's my job to try to replace and be a first power play guy and score the way Cole did last year, I think that's when teams and players, have struggles of trying to live up to that. So I'm not asking anybody to really step up. I'm just asking them to continue their growth and development in a natural way. And I think everything else will fall into place really nicely. We're going to have a 4-line team. We're going to roll them over. We're going to have the mentality of going into buildings and outworking teams. And at the end of the game, we're going to leave everything on that sheet of ice that we have, energy-wise and commitment-wise, and that's how we will play, and that's how we will have success. We get 2 returning goaltenders and Camero and Ben Garrity. We added Jared Moak to that mix. That gives us a really solid, most important position in the net. And if you can build your team from the net out and you have your strength there, you're in a really good spot, right out of the gate. And I think that's really important. The blue line. The only player we lost on the back end is Ty Emerson. It's our captain. He was an important part of our team. But 2 seniors came back, and Josh S. and Tyler Inamoto. And the 3 players that we brought in are all elite players, and all are going to have impact, on our lineup. So you look at those 2 positions, it's really important to be solid in those 2 areas. And then the forward-wise, you saw what our 4 lines did last year. Yeah, lots of the production was done by the Weisbach, Caulfield line. But if you look at the contributions of all 4 lines last year, that's why we won. So I think depth-wise up front, we had a couple players that can help us. But I think the returning guys, again, will give us the base and the work ethic and the energy that we need to score enough goals to give ourselves a really good chance to win hockey games and have an outstanding season.
Tony, when you say outstanding season, what does that mean?
Outstanding season for me is at the end of every game to feel proud of how hard we worked, how hard we competed. If at the end of the game you feel like you outworked the other team and you played up to your expectations on execution, on commitment, on preparation, on the details of the game, the record takes care of itself. And should our goal be to continue to grow on from what we did last year? Absolutely. And last year we won a Big Ten title. You can't tell me that the other 6 teams aren't looking at Wisconsin Badgers thinking, okay, last year they get the best of us and we're able to win a Big Ten title. So are we the favorite going in? Probably not, just with Michigan's and Minnesota's returning players and kind of all the hype they've gotten. They're probably going to get more attention and be ranked higher than us. But still, at the end of the day, we beat up on a lot of teams last year to win a conference. So we're gonna have to understand that there is a responsibility of us knowing that when teams come in here, they're going to want payback from what happened last year, and that's a compliment to us, and it's something that we'll have to be ready for. So a successful season for me, Brian, just to get back to your question, is to play up the expectations, and the wins will take care of themselves. The results will take care of themselves. Our positions in the standings will take care of themselves. If we focus on the same details of the game, the same pride that we had, and the same appreciation that we had for playing hockey last year, if we can have that same mentality this year, I'm confident that we will be an exciting team to watch. Our fans will be proud of us, and that we'll be in a really good position when it's all said and done.
Tony, the biggest thing you missed without having fans in the seats last year was what?
That's like that. What's that game that they have? They throw a word out there and you got to give a response to it. And I get one word answer. What did I miss most besides the fans?
No, what did you miss most about not having fans? What was the biggest
I'm
thing?
sorry. Sorry for misinterpreting your question. Just the energy that they bring, the importance of knowing what they've meant to our program for years. We led the nation in attendance 41 straight years. We've been second, for a while now. So we've been top two for a long time. So they missed seeing a Hobie Baker winner. They missed seeing a Big Ten championship. They missed seeing so many great games, comeback victories, overtime victories, so many players that were so much fun to watch. So I kind of feel that they missed out on that, but I also know the great coverage that we got media-wise, social media-wise, television-wise, was something that at least they got a bit of a taste of it. Although they were not in our building, I think they still could appreciate how special that group was last year. So I think that's really it. The Crease Creatures are huge. The student fans section is huge. The band is huge. Our boosters are huge. That's such a huge part of who Wisconsin Badger hockey, is, and our identity. So getting them back in and hoping that, that just because they didn't get to see us last year and through all the things that we've gone through COVID, hopefully they can come back with the same energy that they have into Camp Randall for the first two football games. I was at both those games. I had the chills and the excitement of being back in the building as a fan, which was really unique because I think you realize when it's taken away from you for a year, how special it is to have, the University of Wisconsin and represent it and be part of, how cool that is. I think that our fans will appreciate it the same way when they get back into the Kohl Center. So I think that hopefully I answered your question, Todd. But that's what I think will be really cool. And that energy, I think, will be right there from our first game when we play Michigan Tech here in a few weeks. I'm anticipating it might not be a perfect crowd. It might not every seat might not be filled. But I think that energy that our students will provide, that our band will provide, that our boosters and our season ticket holders will provide, it'll be really exciting for us to get back and playing on the Kohl Center ice.
Hey, Tony, this is Evan Hong up at News 18 in Eau Claire. It was announced last week that you guys would be coming up here to our neck of the woods to play in Chippewa Falls against UMD for an exhibition. When tickets went on sale, the line was around the building with fans, wanting to get their tickets. So how excited are you to come up here and play? And what do you think it means for the community in Western Wisconsin to bring the team up here?
Well, the one thing that I do know is when you play on the University of Wisconsin football team, hockey team, basketball team, volleyball team, soccer team, it doesn't matter. It's not just a city school, we're a state school. So we have so many different regions in our state that are big hockey backers. Obviously, the ones that have good youth programs, the ones that have some alumni living in the areas are even that much more special to us. But to understand and know how much it's being appreciated in Chippewa Falls, that they could just put the tickets up for the game, for a short period of time and it's all sold out, shows the excitement that the different regions have. So we're going to go to Milwaukee this year and play there in December for the big tournament there. I want to try to get to different areas. It's hard with the limitations on what we can and can't do. But I would love to go to Appleton, to Milwaukee regularly, to Green Bay, to Chippewa Falls, to Eagle River, to Eau Claire. There's so many different little hockey, hotbeds and spots in our state that we can't, get to on a regular basis. But I'd like to try to get there as much as we can. So we'll try to build it into our schedules moving forward, where we can get to different areas, even if it's just for an inter-squad game, even if it's just for practice as we're going through town on the way to or from a game. I think that's really important to show our appreciation for the fans that we have in the different areas, because it's going to be exciting for us. It is. Duluth's excited. It's halfway, between Duluth and here. Coach Sandlin, I've talked to a few times about it. They're a heck of a program, We want to be, with them at the end of this year. Both of us have high expectations for what this season, has in store for both of us, and to start, with a game in a neutral site area, and like Chippewa Falls is exciting for both programs. So you'll see some great hockey. The fans will see some great hockey, and like I said, hopefully we'll be able to do this in the future in different spots as well.
Coach, you guys have kind of loaded up on a non-conference schedule. Is there any of those games that kind of stick out more than another? One that you might be looking forward to more so this year?
Not really. I mean, all of them are exciting for their different reasons. I think the tournament in Milwaukee, just, like we were talking about, going into Chippewa Falls, that's going to be exciting, even though it's an exhibition game. We're not going in there just to go out and play pond hockey and scrimmage. We're going out there to have a competitive Division I hockey competition between two great teams. And if you look at the rest of the schedule, Army brings in something special because the football team's coming in the same weekend. I think we got a pretty good thing going with Michigan Tech, so we're opening up with them. They've been a traditional team from the WCHA days. That's a great rivalry. So there's lots of teams that are scheduled that we've been able to put on that have different meanings for different reasons. But the Milwaukee thing for us, getting back into Milwaukee and getting back into playing that building after the NBA championship, after the excitement of the Brewers that's going on in Milwaukee right now, and to go there over the Christmas season and bring hockey to the fans of Milwaukee, I think that weekend probably stands out more than the non-conference games. But again, they're all special. And the other thing is, you realize you only play 30 plus games a year, so you got to appreciate each one for different ways. You got to get excited for each one in different ways. Unfortunately for us, I think we got a really competitive schedule. We've got some great teams to play in the non-conference, and then obviously the Big Ten. I'll say it over and over again. There's not a tougher league in college when you look at what Michigan's got. You look at Minnesota's team. Penn State, and Ohio State, and all the other teams. Notre Dame's going to be phenomenal. It's just going to be, every weekend's going to be a battle. And for us, we're lucky. We know we have an opportunity to play all these teams, and we'll try to make the most of it.